Medieval castles have always been romanticized, but the real truth was much harsher. It was a ruthless system that broke people. Historians rarely talk about this.
Most people don't even understand how it worked. A castle didn't just defend borders.
It destroyed the sanity of anyone trapped inside. It was a system on which everything depended. This is where it all began. This is where everything was decided during the long hours of a siege. The stone itself turned time into a deadly weapon. It changed the course of history.
7 days inside set in motion an irreversible process of physical destruction.
What actually happens in this isolation hides the darkest secret of survival. The heavy oak gates close behind you with a dull thud. The air inside the courtyard immediately feels damp and unnaturally still. You stand on the uneven cobblestones of the inner courtyard of a massive stone structure. The sharp smell of horse manure and wet straw instantly hits your nose. You have exactly 7 days of survival ahead of you in this gloomy place. Gray stone walls rise on all sides, blocking out the dim sky. You feel like a tiny grain of sand at the bottom of a deep, cold well. A sharp gust of wind sweeps dry dust and small debris across the courtyard. The icy air instantly seeps through the thin fabric of your clothes. Your instinct for self-preservation makes you pull your collar tighter and clench your fists. Your footsteps echo hollowly off the massive defensive structures. You head toward the main entrance to the castle's central tower. The thick wooden door yields with a loud, drawn-out creak. Inside, you are met by thick semi-darkness and an even more piercing cold.
The stone beneath your feet exudes a grave, age-old chill.
Your eyes slowly adjust to the dim light filtering through the narrow arrow slits. You make out the outline of a vast, empty hall with high arches. The sound of your ragged breathing seems unnaturally loud in this silence. A chill begins to shake your body with a fine, unceasing tremor. The temperature here is significantly lower than in the open air in the courtyard. The castle acts like a giant stone sponge, absorbing all the heat. You try to rub your frozen hands together, but your fingers are already losing sensation. At the far end of the hall, you can make out a huge but utterly cold hearth. The smell of stale soot and damp ash fills your lungs. The realization that there is no source of heat here triggers a mild panic. The sun is slowly setting, and the already dim light begins to fade. The cold penetrates your skin, reaching right down to your bones. Your teeth start chattering involuntarily. You look for any corner where you can shelter from the wandering drafts. The wind howls through the narrow cracks in the windows, creating an eerie, monotonous hum. You sink to the stone floor, pulling your knees up to your chest. The hard surface instantly draws the last remnants of warmth from your body. Your muscles cramp from the constant static tension. The darkness becomes absolute, dense, and almost tangible to the touch.
At that moment, you clearly understand the utter hopelessness of your situation.
The sounds of the nighttime castle begin to weigh on your psyche. Somewhere in the distance, you hear the steady patter of water droplets hitting stone. Rustling in the corners of the hall makes your heart beat faster. You can't see a thing, relying solely on your hearing. An invisible threat makes you flinch at every rustle. The first night turns into an endless struggle against the cold. You try to move around in place to get your blood flowing again. Every movement is an enormous struggle because of your stiff joints. Moisture from the cold stone soaks through your clothes. Your mind narrows to a single thought of warmth. By morning, you feel completely exhausted from fighting the cold. Your face is chapped and your lips are cracked from the dry, icy air. You struggle to force yourself to stand on your uncooperative legs. The first day has proven your absolute vulnerability to the elements. There are still 6 long days of this merciless simulation ahead. The morning of the second day brings neither the expected relief nor warmth. A pale light barely filters through the narrow cracks in the thick walls. Your body aches from sleeping on the hard, icy floor. Your stomach cramps painfully, reminding you of the complete lack of food. Hunger begins to overshadow even the unrelenting feeling of deep cold. You slowly wander through the long corridors in search of the kitchen. The smell of rotting waste and rancid grease grows increasingly distinct. Dirty straw mixed with scraps and mud crunches under your feet. You enter a dark room filled with massive wooden tables. Pieces of dried-out bread, more like stones, lie on the boards. Your fingers struggle to break off a piece of this hard mass. Your mouth goes dry as you try to chew the tough crust. The taste of mold and stale flour triggers a violent wave of nausea. You force yourself to swallow this dry crumb for the sake of survival. Your throat feels scratchy, and an unpleasant sensation of heaviness rises in your chest. Thirst becomes the next problem, requiring an immediate solution. In the corner of the kitchen stands a large wooden barrel of murky water. Small debris and an unidentifiable gray film float on the surface. The water smells of slime and rotten wood.
You scoop up some liquid with a wooden ladle and take a cautious sip.
The water has a bitter aftertaste of earth and stagnant dampness. Your stomach reacts immediately with a dull rumbling and an unpleasant sharp pain. You realize that every sip could result in severe poisoning. Your body craves moisture, but your instinct tells you to stay away from the barrel. The choice between dehydration and illness becomes unbearably difficult. Weakness begins to spread through every muscle of your exhausted body. You lean against the cold wall to keep from losing your balance. Dark circles float before your eyes for a second from the sudden movement. Hunger transforms from mere discomfort into physical, tangible pain. Your body begins to slowly devour its own internal resources. You find a piece of dried meat hanging from a smoke-stained beam. It's as tough as a shoe sole and covered in a thick layer of white salt. You chew it for a long time, grinding your gums until they ache. The salt burns your lips unbearably and triggers a new wave of intense thirst. This meager meal brings neither satiety nor a surge of strength. Time drags unbearably slowly in this realm of eternal shadows.
Your steps grow heavier and more uncertain.
You spend hours in a daze, staring at a single point. Thoughts of food become obsessive, crowding out all other sensations. Your mind begins to focus solely on basic animal instincts. By evening, your stomach feels as if it's twisting into a tight, painful knot. You lie down on the dirty floor, trying to find a comfortable position. Every touch against the stone echoes with a dull ache in your bones. Hunger won't let you relax for even a second. The second day ends with a full realization of your physical helplessness. The night passes in anxious delirium and brief lapses into oblivion. You dream of hot hearths and tables groaning with fresh food. Awakening brings only bitter disappointment and a new wave of pain. Your breathing becomes shallow and your pulse weak and slow. The castle slowly drains your life force, drop by drop. The third day arrives, bringing with it the true torture of insomnia. Your eyes are red, inflamed, and constantly watering from the strain. Your eyelids feel like lead, but your brain refuses to shut down and rest. The cold, hunger, and hard floor have robbed you of normal sleep. You are on the edge between agonizing reality and heavy delirium. Every sound in the castle now seems several times louder. The squeaking of rats under the floorboards echoes in your ears like the roar of drums. The creaking of wood in the wind sounds like a drawn-out human moan. Your nervous system is exhausted to the limit and reacts to everything. You flinch at your own shadow gliding across the damp wall. Your vision begins to fail you in the dim light of the endless stone corridors. The outlines of objects blur, losing their sharpness and familiar shapes. The corners of the room seem filled with a strange, barely perceptible movement. You rub your eyes with dirty hands, but the haze doesn't lift. Your brain begins to fill in the frightening details in the castle's deep shadows.
Your head is splitting from a dull, throbbing pain in the back of your neck.
Every thought comes with great difficulty, as if through thick cotton wool. You lose track of time, unable to tell whether it is day or night. Simple actions require colossal mental and physical effort. Your consciousness periodically shuts down for fractions of a second, causing disorientation. You try to sit down and lean your back against the cold wall. The moment you close your eyes, strange images flash before your mind's eye. Your body sinks into sleep, but a protective reflex instantly snaps you back. Your muscles twitch involuntarily, triggering sudden panic attacks. True, deep sleep remains an unattainable luxury for you. Your breathing becomes ragged and your heart beats erratically, with pauses. You feel your mind gradually losing touch with reality. Logical thinking gives way to primal, irrational fear. It begins to seem to you that the castle walls are slowly closing in. The sensation of confinement triggers bouts of acute claustrophobia. You get up and start wandering aimlessly through the empty halls. Moving helps you briefly ward off the wave of heavy sleep washing over you. Your legs get tangled and you bump painfully against the stones several times. You don't feel the pain fully because of the general numbness in your body.
Physical exhaustion compounds your complete mental helplessness.
A oppressive silence reigns around you, broken only by your footsteps. You start whispering to yourself to keep your sanity. The sound of your own voice seems foreign and unnaturally hoarse. You catch yourself forgetting why you're here. All that remains is a raw instinct for survival in the here and now. The evening of the third day brings with it the peak of psychological tension. You sit in the corner, clutching your head with your hands and rocking back and forth. The shadows cast by the moonlight turn into terrifying, writhing monsters. You cover your ears, trying to shut out the voices that aren't there. Your mind begins to break under the weight of constant stress. This day proves that sleep deprivation kills faster than starvation. You have no control over your thoughts, your emotions, or your body. The world around you has turned into one continuous gray hallucination. You pray for a moment of peace, but the castle shows no mercy. Tomorrow promises to bring new, even more brutal trials. The fourth day brings the disgusting reality of medieval unsanitary conditions crashing down on you. An unbearable itch begins early in the morning, spreading throughout your body. Tiny flea bites cover your hands, neck, and stomach. You scratch your skin furiously, leaving dirty red streaks. The rough fabric of your clothes constantly rubs against the inflamed areas, intensifying the pain. The smell of an unwashed body mixes with the stench of stagnant sewage. There is no sewage system in the castle, only deep cesspools. The distinct sour scent of ammonia and rot permeates the air. It settles on your hair, your clothes, and deep in your lungs. You feel waves of nausea with every deep breath. Large gray rats scurry constantly along the walls on the dirty straw. They are completely unafraid of your presence, brazenly running right over your feet. Their bare tails leave a disgusting sensation on your skin. You try to shoo them away, but you don't have the strength for sudden movements. These rodents are the true masters of this castle, not you. A layer of centuries-old dust and soot covers every surface in the rooms. Your hands have long since turned black from the dirt that has seeped into your pores. Black dirt has accumulated under your fingernails, impossible to clean out. There is barely enough water to drink. Washing is out of the question. You feel physically filthy to the very core. Your hair has matted together from sweat and dust into a stiff, greasy tangle. Invisible insects constantly crawl across your skin, driving you mad. You catch lice in the seams of your clothes, squashing them with your fingers. The feeling of disgust toward yourself becomes almost unbearable. Human dignity dissolves in this animalistic, filthy environment. Dirt seeps even into the tiny scratches on your hands. The skin around the wounds reddens and begins to throb painfully from infection. You realize that any inflammation here could be fatal. There are no medicines, no clean bandages, no salvation. Your body must fight the bacteria on its own. You sit on a pile of straw, smelling the stench of rot emanating from it. It's teeming with tiny parasites, but it's the only alternative to the icy rock. Every hour you spend here takes you down a new step of degradation. You stop noticing the insects crawling over you. Apathy gradually replaces the acute sense of revulsion. The darkness brings no relief from this all-pervading sense of filth. At night, the activity of rats and insects intensifies exponentially. You hear their squeaks and rustling literally just a few centimeters from your face. The fear of being bitten in your sleep prevents you from relaxing. You constantly flinch, brushing invisible creatures off yourself. Your body exudes the scent of illness, exhaustion, and deep despair. You no longer feel like a modern person with a penchant for cleanliness. The castle has forced you to accept the rules of its filthy, cruel world. Your skin is covered in a crust of dirt that feels like a second layer of armor. The fourth day strips away the last remnants of your civility. By the end of the day, the itching becomes a constant background sensation. You scratch mechanically, staring into the void with bloodshot eyes. A rat bite or blood poisoning now seem like very real threats. Survival boils down to enduring pain, filth, and constant discomfort. You realize that there are still 3 endless days ahead. On the 5th day, you decide to start a fire so you don't freeze to death. You find some dry wood and light a flame in the central hearth. The tongues of flame bring instant, long-awaited warmth to your frozen hands. But the joy is short-lived as the castle reveals its new trap. This ancient structure lacks proper chimneys, which appeared in architecture much later. Historically, in early castles, fires were lit right in the middle of the hall, and the smoke was supposed to escape through an opening in the roof. But today, the wind is pushing the air down from above, and the smoke cannot escape outside. Thick, blue-gray smoke begins to slowly fill the vast hall. It rises toward the high vaults but quickly sinks back down due to the lack of draft. The smell of burning wood gives way to acrid smoke that stings your eyes until they hurt badly. You start blinking rapidly, trying to get rid of the stinging tears that are blurring your vision. The air becomes heavy, thick, and completely unsuitable for normal breathing. The smoke mixes with an invisible and treacherous enemy called carbon monoxide. This gas is odorless, but it begins to displace the oxygen from your blood at an alarming rate. You feel every cell in your body start to signal a deadly danger. You start to suffocate in this artificially created cloud of gas. Every breath is accompanied by wheezing and a deep, dry cough from the very depths of your chest. Your throat burns so unbearably, as if you were swallowing broken glass or sharp sand. The smoke penetrates deep into your lungs, causing agonizing spasms and a sharp stabbing pain. You have to crouch as low as possible against the cold floor, where a thin layer of clean air still lingers. The situation turns into a cruel choice between 2 kinds of torment. You can move away from the fire and slowly freeze to death again on the icy stone. Or you can stay in the warmth, but you're guaranteed to suffocate from the fumes. You try to find a delicate balance, crawling on all 4s around the blazing hearth. Ash and greasy soot settle in a thick black layer on your sweaty face and sticky hands. The smoke corrodes your delicate mucous membranes, causing a constant runny nose and reddened eyes. You try to breathe through the dirty sleeve of your clothing to filter out the soot particles as best you can. It helps too little, and new coughing fits shake your utterly weakened body. Everything floats before your eyes in a thick, impenetrable gray fog that envelops everything around you. The contours of the huge room disappear completely in this dense, suffocating curtain of smoke. The lack of oxygen begins to take a toll on your exhausted brain. You feel intense dizziness and a throbbing, aching pain in your temples. Your movements become sluggish, uncertain, and extremely clumsy. You feel your consciousness slowly drifting into a dark and bottomless void. An ancient instinct for self-preservation compels you to crawl as far away as possible from the source of this dangerous heat. The cold in the far corner of the vast hall immediately pierces your bones like 1,000 tiny needles. The cooling sweat on your body instantly turns into a thin crust of ice beneath your clothes. You lie on the stones, greedily and noisily gulping down the cleaner but searingly frosty air. Your chest heaves, desperately trying to make up for the critical lack of oxygen in your organs. The coughing won't stop for a long time, literally turning you inside out from the colossal strain. The acrid smell of burning is firmly embedded in your hair and every thread of your soaked clothes. You distinctly feel the bitter taste of ash on your tongue and parched palate. Your eyes are severely swollen and red, reduced to narrow, painful slits. You wipe your face with dirty hands, simply smearing greasy black soot across your skin. Now you look more like a living corpse from the most terrifying nightmares. The fire in the hearth gradually dies down, leaving behind only dimly smoldering coals and gray ash. The smoke begins to slowly and reluctantly dissipate through the narrow window, slits near the ceiling. You watch the dying red sparks with a wild mixture of hatred and a secret desire to warm yourself. The warmth turned out to be nothing more than a treacherous illusion for which you had to pay too high a physical price. The castle has made it clear to you that even the slightest comfort here is deadly dangerous. The end of the 5th day leaves you with a burning throat and lungs aching from the strain. It hurts to breathe even the clean, frosty air of the endless stone corridors. You sit in complete darkness, listening to the terrifying whistling in your own exhausted chest. The simulation gives you not a single chance for peaceful and safe rest. Your body is slowly but surely breaking down under the weight of these unbearable and savage conditions. The 6th day brings upon you the unbearable weight of complete and absolute isolation. The winter days are growing shorter, and the sun disappears below the horizon alarmingly early, leaving you in darkness. You are left alone with the endless, all-consuming, and thick darkness of the old castle. The stone building seems utterly empty and completely cut off from the rest of the living world. The oppressive silence begins to press against your eardrums with immense physical force. You have absolutely no source of light except for rare, narrow strips of moonlight. You sit in the very corner, clutching your knees tightly with your hands, and peer intently into the darkness. Your eyes try in vain to catch even the slightest detail in this impenetrable blackness. Sensory deprivation, caused by the absence of stimuli, begins to play cruel tricks on your mind. You gradually begin to lose the real boundaries of your own body in the surrounding space. Time finally loses its familiar meaning, stretching into an endless and drawn-out eternity. You can no longer tell if only 5 minutes have passed or if it has already been several long hours. Every beat of your heart reverberates as a hollow, heavy echo in your empty, buzzing head. You constantly listen to your ragged breathing just to make sure you're still alive. The loneliness becomes almost tangible, like a heavy, cold blanket of pure lead. The massive stone walls press down on you with their impenetrable thickness and utter indifference. You feel as if you've been buried alive in a huge stone crypt with no way out. The desire to hear even a single human voice becomes almost obsessive and utterly overwhelming. You scream into the black void, but the sound quickly fades away in the high, indifferent vaults of the hall. The only response you receive is your own cold, mocking echo. Your thoughts begin to spin in a closed circle that slowly destroys you. You wistfully recall your distant home, the warmth of home, the bright electric light, and safety. These fleeting memories cause you sharp and utterly unbearable emotional pain. You cover your face with your hands, trying with all your might to hold back the tears of burning despair welling up. This psychological torture proves far more terrifying than all the physical hardships of the previous days. Strange shadows in the meager moonlight seem to you like living creatures, constantly changing shape. Your exhausted and fevered imagination conjures up eerie silhouettes of people in the darkest corners of the hall. You begin to feel as though someone invisible is watching you intently from the deep darkness. The fine hairs on the back of your neck stand on end from a primal and irrational terror of the unknown. You press your back harder against the solid wall to protect your rear in any way you can. The complete absence of human interaction gradually robs you of your last shreds of sanity. Without even realizing it, you start talking quietly to the stones, whispering your deepest fears to them. Your fingers nervously and rapidly sift through the dry, rotten straw on the cold, dusty floor. You catch yourself silently and rhythmically, moving your lips in the absolute darkness. Your mind desperately searches for any familiar anchor to keep from finally sliding into the abyss of madness. The impossibility of leaving these cursed walls triggers sudden bouts of wild and uncontrollable panic. You jump up, rush to the massive oak doors, and pound on them with all your might. The old wood remains utterly unyielding, responding only with a dull, short thud into the void. Your knuckles bleed, but in a fit of madness, you feel almost no pain. You simply slide helplessly down the door to the floor, choking on your own sobs. Prolonged isolation breaks your will to resist far more effectively than agonizing hunger. You gradually stop fighting for warmth or searching the dust for pitiful crumbs of dried-up food. You simply lie on your side for hours, staring blankly and apathetically at a single spot on the stone wall. All your emotions burn out completely, leaving behind only an empty, hollow shell. The 6th day successfully kills your last hope for any imminent rescue from this hell. By morning, you find yourself in a state of deep, heavy, and absolute apathy toward everything. Your gaze becomes completely empty and no longer focuses on the objects around you. The castle has successfully and systematically broken down your psychological defenses day by day, brick by brick. Your consciousness is now locked inside this enormous stone cage, seemingly forever. The seventh day begins with a feeling of total, crushing physical exhaustion. You try to open your eyes, but your eyelids seem to be stuck together with dirt. Any attempt to lift your head is met with a sharp pain in your atrophied neck muscles. Your body refuses to obey the commands of your fading, sluggish mind. You lie on the rocks, feeling completely empty and broken. Every movement now requires a colossal, superhuman effort of will. You force yourself to roll onto your stomach and prop yourself up on your hands. Your hands shake so violently they cannot support your light weight. You fall back to the floor, breathing heavily and raggedly. Your heart beats weakly in your chest like a wounded bird. Your hunger has reached the stage where your stomach no longer sends signals of pain. Instead, a frightening, ringing lightness has taken over your entire body. Your cheeks have sunken in, and your skin clings tightly to your protruding bones. You've lost critical body mass over this endless week. Your body begins to shut down secondary functions to conserve energy. Breathing is difficult. Your lungs wheeze as they draw in cold air. Your throat is so dry you can't swallow your saliva. Your lips have cracked into deep wounds, caked with dark blood. Your body temperature has dropped critically low. You no longer feel the cold. This is the most terrifying sign of impending severe hypothermia. You try to crawl across the floor, clinging to the stones with uncooperative fingers. Every inch you pull your body forward drains the last drops of your vitality. Your vision has narrowed to a small tunnel, with black spots dancing at the edges. You don't understand where you're crawling or why you're doing it at all. All that remains is a blind, ancient instinct, simply to move forward. Your hearing grows dull. Sounds reach you as if through a thick layer of water. You hear a strange hum that originates inside your own head. Your thoughts become tangled, cut off mid-sentence, and vanish into the void. You can't remember your name or how you ended up here. Reality finally shatters into fragments of incoherent delirium. The pain throughout your body merges into a single, continuous, dull background. You feel neither the bites of insects nor the hardness of the stone floor. Your nervous system refuses to transmit signals to your pain-exhausted brain. You are in a dangerous, semi-unconscious stupor. Death within these walls no longer seems like a frightening prospect to you. Stopping becomes inevitable when all strength leaves your body. You freeze in the middle of the corridor, your face buried in the dirty dust. You don't even have the energy to roll onto your back. You simply lie there, feeling the cold stone draw out the last crumbs of warmth. Life slowly, drop by drop, drains from your motionless limbs. Your mind teeters on the thinnest line between reality and darkness. All you see before you is gray stone, crisscrossed with cracks. Each crack seems like a vast river on a lifeless map. Your breathing becomes so shallow that your chest barely rises. You have reached the absolute limit of human endurance under these conditions. The seventh day proves your utter insignificance in the face of this harsh era. You are not a hero from a book, capable of overcoming any hardship. You are a vulnerable creature of flesh and blood, broken by cold and hunger. Time slows to a crawl, preparing to come to a complete standstill. The simulation is approaching its final, climactic point. The final hours of the seventh day turn into agonizing torment on the very edge of your consciousness. Thick darkness gradually begins to shroud your narrowed tunnel vision in a dense black veil. You lie completely motionless on the cold stone, unable even to move your frozen fingertips. Your heart takes frighteningly long pauses between its weak, muffled beats in your chest. Your exhausted body prepares for the complete and final shutdown of all vital systems. The cold penetrates to the very depths of your being, literally freezing your internal organs one by one. You have absolutely no feeling in your legs below the knees or in your arms below the elbows. Your blood flows incredibly slowly, thickening greatly in veins constricted by the bitter cold. Your brain is still desperately trying to send weak signals to move, but your muscles seem completely dead. You find yourself trapped inside your own paralyzed body, as if in a cramped and cold trap. The hallucinations become incredibly vivid and detailed, gradually replacing the grim reality of the old castle. You see the faces of loved ones leaning right over you and whispering something. You sincerely try to answer them, but not a single sound escapes from your parched, smoke-scorched throat. The gray walls around you begin to pulse strangely in time with your fading, irregular heartbeat. The line between real life and eternal nothingness is finally blurring in your fading mind. Suddenly, you feel a strange and very frightening warmth that begins to spread across your chest. This false warmth is a sure sign of the terminal, very last stage of deep hypothermia. Your frozen brain malfunctions, mistakenly interpreting impending death as long-awaited and pleasant comfort. You feel an irresistible and deceptive urge to simply close your eyes and fall into a deep sleep in this warmth. With the last remnants of your mind, you still understand that this peaceful sleep will be your very last. A sudden flash of animal terror pierces the thick veil of your apathy and weakness for a brief second. Adrenaline makes its final, desperate surge into your nearly cold, thick blood. You force yourself to take a sharp, convulsive breath, burning your lungs with the sharp, icy air of the hall. Your eyelids fly wide open, trying with your last ounce of strength to cling to the fading material reality. You clench your jaws tightly, refusing to give up without this final and most important struggle. You concentrate every last shred of strength on a single crystal-clear thought: survival. You command your uncooperative fingers to clench into a fist, and they slowly, creakingly obey you. With immense effort, you force yourself to lift your head a pitiful couple of centimeters off the icy floor. This tiny victory over impending death demands a powerful, blinding burst of energy from you. You hold your head aloft, your entire body literally trembling from the unbearable savage strain. The pain suddenly returns, crashing down on you with a new and vastly amplified destructive force. Every cell of your exhausted body screams for help, literally tearing apart from total exhaustion. You grind your teeth until they crunch, trying to endure this terrible agony of returning to full consciousness. You force yourself to breathe rapidly and very deeply, trying to get even a little blood flowing through your veins. You categorically refuse to die in this filthy, God-forsaken stone pit in complete solitude. Time drags on unbearably slowly, like drops of cold sweat trickling down your deathly pale face. You fight for every second of your continued existence in this battered body. Your mind clings to flashes of pain as the only sure proof that you are still alive. You keep telling yourself that this endless week must be coming to an end any moment now, as agreed. You count your heartbeats intently, waiting for the long-awaited end to this cruel and inhumane experiment. The atmospheric pressure inside the castle feels unbearably heavy to you, as if a huge lead slab had been placed on your chest. You physically feel how every second of this struggle is robbing you of long years of your future life. Your frozen body instinctively curls into a tight ball, trying to preserve the pitiful remnants of precious warmth. Your eyes are fixed on the massive dark oak door at the very end of the long stone corridor. You wait for it to finally open, praying to every god you know for this salvation. The culmination of your suffering reaches its absolute limit the moment you take your last breath. You clearly understand that the next breath may simply not come due to the complete paralysis of your lungs. The entire vast world around you suddenly shrinks to the size of your single beating heart. You have gone through a veritable hell on earth of absolute cold, hunger, unbearable filth, and madness. All that remains is to find out whether you truly endured those long 7 days in the stone crypt. A loud, drawn-out, screeching sound of old metal against stone suddenly cuts through the oppressive, heavy silence. The heavy oak gates move with difficulty, slowly letting the first real light into the hall. A bright and blinding ray of morning sun stings your eyes, which have grown accustomed to eternal darkness. You instinctively cover your face with hands that are dirty and trembling violently from the horror you have endured. Fresh air from the street rushes into the hall in a powerful stream, bringing with it the long-forgotten scent of freedom. 7 long and agonizing days of your simulation have come to their logical and extremely cruel end. You still lie motionless on the stones, unable to fully believe the reality of what is happening. The sunlight feels scorching to you, completely unnatural and literally cutting into the retinas of your sore eyes. You squint hard, trying to make out even a little of the passage to the normal world that has opened up before you. Your body, out of inertia, refuses to react quickly to such a sudden and radical change in the environment. Slowly and gradually, the realization dawns on you that this days-long ordeal is finally over. You have survived conditions that have guaranteed to break people's will and lives for centuries. But for some reason, this miraculous survival does not bring you the expected sense of triumph or the exuberant joy of victory. You feel only an absolute, total, and ringing emptiness inside your constricted chest. The castle has taken too much of your vitality and human emotions over the past week. You try to stand up, but your legs immediately give way from overwhelming weakness and extreme exhaustion. You have to literally crawl on all fours toward the exit, clinging with your fingers to every rough cobblestone of the floor. Every centimeter of this path toward the light is accompanied by unbearable, searing, and sharp muscle pain. Your knees have long been rubbed raw and bleeding against the stones, and your hands tremble slightly from the immense strain. You look like nothing more than a pale shadow of the person who walked through these gates a week ago. A warm, gentle breeze caresses your dirty face, covered in soot and sticky sweat. The sharp contrast in temperature triggers a new wave of violent, rhythmic, and utterly unstoppable shivering. You struggle to stumble over the castle's high threshold, literally falling onto the soft, lush green grass. The scent of damp earth and fresh greenery now seems to you the most wonderful aroma in the whole world. You dig your fingers deep into the living soil, eagerly feeling its natural texture and the sun's warmth. The severe physical consequences of this nightmarish week will stay with you for a very long and difficult time. Your ribs protrude sharply beneath your skin, and your face has an unhealthy, sallow, and frightening grayish hue. Your exhausted lungs burn with fire with every deep breath due to the effects of the acrid smoke and soot you've endured. Your stomach is tightly knotted into a tight, painful ball, having completely lost the habit of normal, regular meals. Your exhausted body now requires immediate long-term recovery and professional medical care. The psychological burden of what you've been through weighs on you far more heavily than your current physical weakness. You will never be able to completely forget that bone-chilling cold and the feeling of absolute helplessness. The gloomy darkness of the castle has forever imprinted itself on the depths of your consciousness as a heavy, dark stain. You close your eyes and once again clearly hear the repulsive squeaking of rats beneath the rotten floorboards in the corner. Your adjustment to a normal, peaceful life will now require colossal and serious mental effort. You slowly and uncertainly sit down on the grass, leaning your back against the outer wall of this stone fortress. The stone here is surprisingly warm, well heated by the gentle rays of the morning sun, so saving. You look closely at your dirty hands with their broken nails, completely blackened by soot. You suddenly realize how fragile and defenseless human life is without the comforts we're accustomed to. The harsh era of the Middle Ages has shown you its true, merciless, and cold face over the past 7 days. The silence outside seems surprisingly peaceful and soothing to you, in contrast to the deathly silence of the castle. You can clearly hear the distant singing of forest birds and the soft rustling of young leaves on the trees. These simple, familiar sounds bring a lump to your parched, sore throat. You breathe deeply, savoring every second of freedom and complete safety in this brief moment. Your simulation is officially over, but the reality around you will now be perceived by you in a completely different way. Your heavy gaze falls once more on the wide-open gates of this gloomy and impregnable stone fortress. You know for certain that inside lies a real and utterly merciless time machine. It easily shatters any pride, erases civilization, and instantly lays bare the wildest animal instincts. You survived this ordeal, but you left a part of your living soul behind in that endless cold forever. Your return to reality is painful and extremely slow. The bright colors of the surrounding world seem too saturated and harsh on the eyes. You flinch at any loud sound, expecting the creak of a castle door. A soft bed feels untrustworthy after a week on icy rocks. Your body instinctively curls up, bracing for a blast of cold or pain. The first sip of clean, warm water burns your parched throat. Your stomach accepts food reluctantly, responding with painful spasms to even the smallest portions. You have to learn to eat all over again, chewing each bite slowly. The taste of simple food seems incredibly vivid and almost divine. You can't believe you ever took it for granted. Hot water washes away layers of ingrained dirt and soot. You scrub your skin until it turns red, trying to get rid of a phantom itch. The water turns dark gray, carrying away the smell of the dungeon. But you feel that some of this grime has seeped deep inside. The castle has left its invisible but lasting marks on you. Sleep does not bring the expected rest during the first few days. As soon as you close your eyes, gray walls rise before your mind's eye. You wake up in a cold sweat, gasping for air. It feels as though you're locked in that empty, windowless hall again. It will take time for your brain to stop constantly scanning the space for threats. You start noticing things you never paid attention to before. The warmth from the radiator fills you with a deep sense of gratitude. An ordinary incandescent light bulb seems like a miracle, capable of dispelling any darkness. You run your hand over your clean clothes, savoring the softness of the fabric. Your value system has been turned upside down over these past few days. The experience of survival has laid bare your true, unvarnished human nature. You've realized what the body is capable of to preserve its own life. You've learned the value of clean water, warmth, and simple human connection. The Middle Ages are no longer a pretty picture from books for you. Now it's a cold, hungry, and brutal experience etched in your memory. Every time you walk past stone buildings, you involuntarily flinch. Your body's memory instantly throws you back into that damp courtyard. You remember the smell of rot and the sound of water dripping from the ceiling. This simulation has become too real for your fragile psyche. You emerge from there with an understanding of your own physical and mental vulnerability. You look at your life with a completely different, renewed perspective. The comforts of the 21st century seem like the greatest achievement of human civilization. You no longer complain about minor, everyday inconveniences or bad weather. You know what real, bone-chilling cold feels like. You know what the hopelessness of a confined stone space feels like. 7 days in a medieval castle have changed the way you think. You survived, but the price of that survival turned out to be exorbitantly high. Your body will recover, your wounds will heal, and your exhaustion will gradually fade. But the memory of this ordeal will stay with you for the rest of your life. You will always remember who wins the battle between man and stone. Your story of survival is over, leaving only silence in its wake. You close your eyes, and this time the darkness does not frighten you. You are safe, warm, and surrounded by the familiar things of your time. The Middle Ages are behind you, locked behind the heavy oak gates of memory.